There's one thing you did today, without thinking about it for even a second, that would genuinely surprise a Japanese person if they were standing next to you. It's not because you're careless. It's because nobody ever told you it was worth doing differently. The more put together you think your morning routine is, the more likely you are to be doing at least 3 of these without realizing it. I'm going to show you 9 everyday personal hygiene habits where Japan simply does things a different way. And once you understand why, most of them take less than a minute to fix. The first habit is something you probably did within the last 24 hours, and it's the reason you might be relying on a product to cover up a problem instead of actually solving it. And the 9th habit is the one that quietly undoes almost everything else on this list, every single night, without you noticing. The first difference is about what you reach for when you're running late. Most people in the West shower every other day, sometimes less, and lean on deodorant or a spray of something nice to get through the gap. In Japan, a daily bath or shower is treated as close to non-negotiable, even on the busiest, most exhausted days. Deodorant is a backup, not the main event. Picture your own week. Yesterday, you didn't shower. You woke up, reached for the deodorant, sprayed something over the top, and got on with your day. It worked. Nobody said anything. You felt fine. Here's what was actually happening underneath that. Sweat itself doesn't smell. It's odorless. What smells is bacteria on your skin breaking that sweat down over the course of the day. Deodorant and perfume don't remove the bacteria or the sweat sitting on your skin. They sit on top of it and compete with it. By hour 6 or 7, the two smells are just blending together. In Japan, the daily bath isn't really about smell at all. It's treated as basic maintenance, the same way you'd never skip brushing your teeth for 2 days. Wash first, and there's nothing left for a fragrance to compete with. So the fix here isn't shower more out of guilt. It's simpler. Treat the shower as the actual fix and the deodorant as the finishing touch, not the substitute. If you're ever choosing between the two because you're short on time, the water wins. It's a small mental shift, but it changes how you plan a rushed morning. Instead of asking, "Do I have time to shower?" the actual question is, "Do I have 90 seconds underwater?" Because that's usually all it takes to reset the bacteria that built up overnight. The rest of the routine can stay exactly as rushed as it already is. Once you start thinking about what's sitting on your skin instead of what's covering it, the next habit is going to feel obvious in hindsight. The second difference is something that happens the second you leave a public restroom. In most Western bathrooms, there's a hand dryer that doesn't quite finish the job, or no paper towels left, so you shake your hands off, wipe them on your jeans, and walk out. In Japan, a huge number of people carry a small hand towel or handkerchief specifically for this, tucked in a bag or pocket every single day. Think about the last public restroom you used. You washed your hands properly, actual soap, a decent scrub, and then the dryer gave you 10 seconds of lukewarm air before switching off. You waved your hands around, wiped the rest on your trousers, and left. That last step matters more than it seems. Damp skin picks bacteria back up far faster than dry skin does, and whatever surface you dried your hands on next, your phone, your bag strap, the door handle on the way out, becomes the actual final step of your hand wash, whether you meant it to be or not. In Japan, that small towel isn't a formality. Public restrooms there often don't provide dryers or paper towels at all, so carrying your own is just assumed. The way you'd assume you need your own keys, so keep a small towel or a few tissues in your bag. It costs nothing, takes 0 extra time, and it's the difference between a hand wash that actually finishes and one that gets undone 30 seconds later. The third difference shows up the moment you feel a sneeze coming on. In the West, the instinct for a lot of people is still the hand, cupping a cough or a sneeze, then carrying on with whatever you were doing. In Japan, covering with your sleeve or elbow is standard, and if you're actually feeling unwell, putting on a mask before you leave the house is treated as basic courtesy, not an overreaction. Picture the last time you felt a sneeze building on a train, in a meeting, or in a checkout line. You didn't have a tissue on you. Your hand went up automatically. You sneezed into your palm, and 30 seconds later, that same hand was on a door handle, a shopping cart, or your phone. The mechanics here are straightforward. Whatever was in that sneeze is now on your hand, and your hand touches roughly a dozen shared surfaces in the next few minutes. It's not really about you. It's about everyone whose hands touch the same door handle after yours. In Japan, the elbow or mask habit isn't treated as something you only do when you're seriously ill. It's closer to a reflex, taught from childhood the same way closing a car door is a reflex. So retrain the automatic move. Elbow, not hand. And if you're actually sick, a mask for a day or two isn't dramatic. It's the fastest way to stop passing the exact thing you're dealing with onto everyone around you. The fourth difference is about the gap between breakfast and dinner. Most people in the West brush twice a day, morning and night, and consider that thorough. In Japan, it's extremely common to carry a small travel toothbrush to work or school and brush again after lunch, particularly after coffee or anything sugary. Think about your own mouth around 3 p.m. today. Lunch is long gone. Maybe you had coffee after it. Your tongue can tell there's a film there, but brushing again feels like overkill, so you don't. That midday window is actually when a lot of the damage happens. Food particles and sugar sit on your teeth for the 7 or 8 hours between lunch and whenever you next brush, giving bacteria a long, undisturbed stretch to work with. 2 brushes a day leaves that entire stretch uncovered. In Japan, the lunchtime brush isn't about vanity. It's just closing that gap before it has time to matter. So keep a travel toothbrush in your bag or your desk drawer. 90 seconds after lunch and the 8-hour gap that used to sit there untouched basically disappears. Before the fifth one, this next habit is one people genuinely don't think about, and if getting the small daily details right matters to you, I've put together everything the Japanese do differently around the home, the body, and daily routines into one guide. Scan the QR code on screen or check the link in the description if you want the full breakdown. The fifth difference happens right before bed, and it's the one most people skip on the nights they need it least. In the West, it's extremely common to fall asleep with the day's makeup, sunscreen, and light layer of pollution still on the skin, especially after a long day. In Japan, the nightly cleanse, properly removing everything before sleep, is treated as close to mandatory even at midnight, even exhausted. Picture the last time you fell asleep without washing your face. It wasn't laziness exactly. It was 11:40 p.m., you were tired, and the bed felt closer than the sink. Here's the problem with that gap. Your skin does most of its repair work overnight. If it's doing that underneath a layer of makeup, sunscreen, and the day's oil and grime, it's trying to breathe and repair through a sealed layer instead of open air. Pillowcases pick up that same residue, which becomes relevant again later on this list. In Japan, the nightly cleanse is built into the routine the same way brushing your teeth is. Not optional, not something you skip because you're tired. So keep a pack of micellar water or cleansing wipes on the nightstand, not just in the bathroom. On the nights you're too tired to do the full routine, 30 seconds with a wipe beats skipping it completely. The sixth difference is about what happens right after you leave the gym. A lot of people in the West finish a workout, towel off, and go straight to errands, a coffee, or the school pickup, still in the same sweat-soaked clothes. In Japan, showering immediately after exercise, even a quick rinse before getting dressed, is close to a hard rule, especially anywhere there's a shared pool, gym, or onsen involved. Think about the last time you worked out and then just carried on with your day. The sweat dried into your clothes. You sat down in the car, on the bus, at your desk, in the same fabric. Sweat sitting against skin for hours, especially in tight workout gear, is exactly the warm, damp environment bacteria and fungus do best in. It's a big part of why gym-related skin irritation is so common. The gym itself isn't really the problem. What you do in the 2 hours after is. In Japan, that immediate rinse isn't about vanity either. It's the same prevention over cure logic that shows up everywhere else on this list. So even a 2-minute rinse and a change of shirt before you go anywhere else makes a real difference. You don't need the full shower and blow dry. Just get the wet fabric off your skin. If you genuinely can't get to a shower, at minimum peel off the damp layer and change into something dry before you sit down anywhere for the next few hours. The bacteria needs the warm, wet environment to thrive, and dry fabric alone takes that away from it. The seventh difference is sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now, and you probably haven't thought about it in months. In the West, the same razor often gets used for weeks or months, rinsed under the tap and set back down until it stops cutting well. In Japan, blades get rinsed and dried properly after every use and replaced far more often because a dull, damp blade is treated as a hygiene issue, not just a performance one. Picture your own razor. It's sitting in the shower right now damp, probably has a faint ring of soap scum around the head, and you genuinely can't remember the last time you swapped the blade. A wet blade left in a humid bathroom doesn't just dull, it picks up bacteria in the gaps between the blades, and every pass after that is dragging that same bacteria across freshly opened skin, which is exactly why razor bumps and small infections show up more on old blades than new ones. In Japan, the fix isn't a fancier razor. It's just rinsing it properly, shaking it dry, and storing it somewhere it can actually air out instead of sitting in standing water. So after each use, rinse it properly, shake off the excess water, and store it upright somewhere it can dry, not lying flat in a puddle at the bottom of the shower. And if you genuinely can't remember the last time you changed the blade, that's your answer. The eighth difference is the thing that touches your hair every single day and almost never gets cleaned itself. In the West, hairbrushes and combs get used for months, sometimes years, without ever being washed, just picked up, used, and put back down. In Japan, brushes get cleaned out and washed on a regular schedule, treated the same way you'd treat a dish. Think about your own hairbrush for a second. Pull a few strands out of it right now in your head. Underneath the hair, there's a layer of old product, natural oil from your scalp, and dust that's been building for who knows how long. Every time you brush, you're not just styling. You're dragging that buildup back through clean hair and redepositing it on your scalp. It's the same logic as the towel or the razor. A tool that's supposed to make you cleaner slowly turns into the thing working against you. In Japan, pulling the hair out and giving the brush an actual wash, not just a wipe, is a normal, regular task, not a rare deep clean. So once a week, pull the hair out, and give the brush or comb a proper wash with a bit of shampoo, then let it dry fully before it goes back in the drawer. It sounds like a small habit to add, but it's one of those jobs that takes about 90 seconds and gets skipped for months at a time simply because it's never obviously dirty. It just quietly gets a little worse every single day until you finally notice. The ninth one is the habit that quietly undoes almost everything else on this list, every single night. In most Western homes, pillowcases get changed whenever the sheets do, which for a lot of people is every couple of weeks. In Japan, pillowcases are changed far more often, sometimes every few days, because it's understood that your face sits directly against that fabric for 7 or 8 hours every single night. Picture your pillow right now. Your face has been pressed into it for roughly a third of your entire life this month. Whatever's on your skin at bedtime, the leftover makeup from habit 5, the sweat from habit 6, the natural oil your skin produces overnight is transferring straight into that fabric and then straight back onto your face the next night and the night after that. This is exactly why this habit ties the other 8 together. You can do everything else on this list perfectly and still spend 8 hours a night pressing your face into a pillowcase that's quietly undoing all of it. In Japan, a fresh pillowcase every few days isn't an obsession with laundry. It's understood as one of the most direct habits connected to skin health, because nothing else you own touches your face for that many hours a day. So keep a small stack of spare pillowcases and swap yours every 3 or 4 days instead of waiting for the full sheet change. It's the smallest job on this entire list, and it's the one holding all the others together. So that's all 9. If you're wondering which one to start with, ask yourself 3 questions about your own routine. Is something staying damp when it should be drying? Is something touching your skin every day that never actually gets cleaned itself? And would you be a little surprised if someone watched you do this? The razor, the hairbrush, and the pillowcase all fail those first 2 immediately, which is exactly why they're worth starting with tonight. One more thing before you go. None of these habits feel wrong while you're doing them, and that's exactly why they've stuck around this long. The deodorant stayed in the routine because it worked well enough. The razor stayed in the shower because that's where you use it. The pillowcase stayed on for 2 weeks because nobody ever told you otherwise. None of this is about being careless. It's just that these habits were built for convenience, and nobody ever went back to check whether they were actually doing what you thought they were doing. The Japanese versions of these aren't harder. They're mostly just a few extra minutes moved to a different point in your day. Pick one and start with the pillowcase tonight. It takes about 30 seconds, and you'll actually feel the difference by morning. All right, that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and let me know down in the comments. Which one of these caught you off guard, and which one were you already doing?